We are live on a Sunday evening, Truth Proof Interactive, and we ain't seen any of you for a little while now. We've been kind of incapacitated, and Paul has. Paul tell you more about that, but welcome to the show, Paul.
Thanks, Les. Yeah, it's good to be here, and it's great to be having a little natter with you guys as well, and finally be a little bit pain-free. It's still there, but it weren't very nice. Let's just put it like that. So... Yeah, good to be back up and running, and we'll be good doing the Thursday stream, Les, won't we? As normal.
We've got a great guest for Thursday, and you'll hear all about that probably on Monday when we get the banner out.
Yeah.
And then I think we've got another one of these next Sunday, Paul. We just got time to get another one, and that'll be our celebratory end of year video.
Yeah, so we'll just stay with you till then, guys. And in the meantime, let's have a look. We've got a few people in. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
nearly 100 people. Al Durham, Patrick Daniel, New Forester, Jessica Pym, my daughter. Well done, Jess. Good to see you. Alison's doing moderating. Let's have a look. Patrick Daniel, Tetrastatic, Tino, Olgie. Kirky, Jack Hills. Thanks, Jack. It's been good talking to you the last few days. Henrietta Carrot, Andrew Wild, Dragonborn. Likewise, a great supporter of channel. Donna Wellham. Let's have a look. Martin Abbas, who's been invaluable, to be honest with you. Stargaze Returnal, Selma Carrick, let's say Jane Louise, Diane Farrell, Fairy Whispers podcast. Good to see you. Mark Anderson and Drew Hollings and Joanne, at least scrolling up a bit today, Les, so that's not too bad. Yeah. And I think I've mentioned Alison and Lee's in doing moderating, and there's 3 people moderating tonight. Thank you, Steve Trees. And let's just jump into it, shall we? Oh, Tom Waters, Andrew Wild.
Yeah. So first topic on, the hot topic of the week is obviously this ongoing drone sightings in America, and kind of couples into what's been seen over the US airfields over in the UK as well. But New Jersey, I mean, they're absolutely seeing these, 50 drones at a time coming over the waters, onto land, and nobody's saying what they are. So great, because if you've got your views out there, folks, on what these things are, you've probably seen more than me in as regards videos and what people are talking about. But it'd be great to hear your views on that, wouldn't it, Paul?
It would, and that's what this hour's for. Your questions. Remember, capital letters, fire them at Lee, Alison and Jess, and Les will get to them, because we want to hear what you think. Likewise, what do you think they are? Do you think it's some kind of otherworldly technology? Do you think it's man-made? Do you think it's our own tech, as in Western tech, showing another nation or other nations how advanced we are, and look, we can actually double bluff kind of thing? Or do you think it's another nation flying these things in?
I think you've come on to something good there, Paul, because my thinking earlier this afternoon was that I'd seen a video, and this double bluff kind of thing. There was an orange orb in the sky. There was a kind of drone type thing, because you could see the flashing lights, but this orb was constant, orange light. So you've got this drone approaching. People have probably seen it on TikTok or wherever. I think it originally came from TikTok. Then it approached this orange orb, it went above it, circled it a little bit, and then absolutely fell out the sky.
Really?
So that's your kind of double meaning here, is that we could have our own. America could have their own technology up there.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if it's anything, it's got to be something totally unconventional, because the military tech that at our disposal apparently could drop a drone out at sky, couldn't it? And that's not me talking with great knowledge. That's what people have told me, and I think a lot of people in chat will already know that. But who in chat thinks that it's otherworldly technology? Who thinks that we're being shown things in the advent of some kind, at the brink of some kind of world war disaster? I don't know. We talked about it before, didn't we? When we did The Art of War, that little short, where things of a biblical nature have actually been seen in ancient times, settling battles and conflicts. Is this what we're going to see?
And all this ties in with kind of what military and big exercises do. They have mock battles. So is this a mock event prior to a bigger event coming up in the future?
Not only that, you're right, Les, but not only that, these drones are staying in air hours.
I think 5 hours at a time, it's been claimed,
Aren't we talking about 45 minutes? Most, I don't know about civilian drone. Most of these drones can be up in air for.
Yeah.
So what are they? It really defies explanation, especially if there's truth in the ones from British bases that where people are saying that they're sending F-15s up and they can't get near them. So it's some kind of aerial craft that's outflying our fast jets.
Have they sent any fast jets up there, Paul?
Well, apparently F-15s have been sent up. I don't know. And let's just jump to where we do a lot of work at Bempton, a lot of research and observation. Recently, people will have heard it, you've heard us, Les, but we've been banging on about these spheres of light. The one that Mark caught on the hillside that lit up and switched off. People are talking, it's almost reversed, where they're talking about getting a visual on these things, putting a torch on them, and they're switching off. And they can see them. But we in our experience, we've been putting a light across the fields and lighting one up, and it's switched off. There's multiple witnesses seeing it, plus the incredible footage. I got some earlier in the year of an object that's oscillating at incredible speed. I don't know what it's doing. Then it turns red, then it turns green, then it disappears. Ian got some footage. Linny's in chat now. I didn't mention that. And Mrs. Linny and Dan Farrell, Peter Leach, a disabled Welshman, Mark Rhodes, Stargazer, Steph Collin. But Linny got some incredible footage, and it's still not out there. We're kind of debating what to do with my footage and Ian's footage because it really is good. And I think Mark Sturdy's in, and Mark knows that he's got his wife's probably Truth Proof's #1 fan. I've just got to say
that's great. That's glad to know. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll just put this on from 1423. It's very unlikely the USA military would allow dozens of unidentified aerial craft free reign over the skies and military bases. It's not going to happen. They were shooting balloons down 6 months ago.
Unless it is our own tech that's up there, and for some reason, whatever reason, we talk about insiders within insiders. It's like a spider's web. Whatever's happening, I'm not saying it is. These are just. Let's just kick these ideas about. What if it is some incredible Western tech that's been tested on our own military to see whether we can evade it? And if we can't evade it, then we know the opposition can't. There's a thought, and it's just come from my head. I've not read that anywhere. I'm just sort of kicking these ideas out.
Well, I think that's all we can do at the moment, Paul, is play with these different scenarios and ideas. I've got something from Tony Worrell regarding the drones in Britain over the USA F bases. They have been seen for a while and are most likely Russian or Chinese. A small percentage could be unknown. The videos I have seen are actually drones.
Fair crack, Tony. Your opinion is just as valid as mine or anybody's in this chat, and that's why we like these open discussions on Truth Proof, because nobody's going to shoot you down and say I don't think you're right, because none of us know. And I mean, my thoughts on it are that if they are Chinese or Russian drones, I mean, surely, would they be saying it? Would the authorities be saying it? I think if they'd shot one down or got one, they'd be displaying it to public to show us their capabilities or our capabilities.
Yeah. Like the disabled Welshman, these drones appear to have some intelligence as well. Yeah. I mean, some of these drones, well, wherever they are. I mean, actually, I've just listened to the air traffic controllers message into an aircraft. It was a Medipack American airplane, just a small, I don't know, twin engine plane or something.
Yeah.
But he was seeing these orbs, these orange orbs, Paul, which was really very interesting. But not only did he see them, there was another plane, because it was all in, it sent the message, the radio operator, to all the other planes in the vicinity, and they'd seen exactly the same. And it was like an orange circle, they said. Yeah. Like an orange circle. So they called it over the airwaves UFO, UFO, UFO. So
yeah. And once again, Les, orange, amber.
It was, yeah.
Bright orange spheres, which is, for years and years, that's what our primary target was on those cliff tops. we've not never stopping looking for them, but obviously there's other stuff out there. It's a learning process.
But what sort of like made it seem more prominent to me is that I think that type of talk between air traffic controllers and pilots, I don't think you'd heard that years and years and years ago. It just shows you now kind of how it's sort of like being normalized.
Yeah.
Now, and people are more at ease in pilots, especially I'm talking about, are more at ease on reporting it.
Yeah, there are some transcripts out there, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, and like you said,
well, the talk was so casual, Well, it's UFOs. We've got UFOs at 10 degrees north and 200 miles out.
And what's interesting as well is the fact that these alleged drones are being seen around places where there's supposed to be nuclear weapons, or bases where there's Lakenheath. There's 3 bases in UK. There's only Lakenheath springs to mind at the moment, but they're all supposed to be holding nuclear warheads. And what's that telling us?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the funny part about all this. It's strategic points, isn't it? It's strategic on the ground for us and for anybody who's spying. It's. I mean, it went over the bomber squadron. God, I can't think where they're based now in America. It went over where they keep the big bombers.
Yeah. Well, do you know, we're going to put that to the test. It don't mean we're going to come back with some proof, but we are going to spend some time at Fylingdales. Don't mean on the base. We're up at Fylingdales, and we'll be the midpoint between Fylingdales and myself is Staxton Wold, so we'll get to Staxton Wold. None of these have got weapons, but they're the key parts of the nuclear air defense or the defense network. So we're going to spend some time up there, and shortly, anyway.
Yeah, and it's listening devices for America, isn't it? America use Fylingdales, don't they?
But it's not just an American airbase, though, is it?
But all the information gets fed straight back to America. So
it'd be interesting, to spend a bit of time up there. I mean, one of the lads who comes onto cliff tops with us, literally sometimes 4 days a week, but 3 times a week. And he travels down from Fylingdales. He'll do an hour just over each way to get down to us because he's sort of interested in things that we've been seeing. So I think it's equally fair to Jeremy to get up there, and we'll have a bit of observations up there. Okay,
I'll just we'll tear away from this subject just for a second, then, Paul, because we've got a question from Stephen Collin, and question for Paul: have you heard or come across any big cryptid bird sightings around the East Coast?
I have, and I've got I haven't. If I start looking for it, I'll spend 5 minutes. But there is a lady who passed Bridlington Links, not Links. What do they call that golf course, Les, on top at back of Danes Dyke? Is that the Links? Isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, the golf course at back of Danes Dyke, the one that parallels Danes Dyke, where we've had the cryptid sightings. She came to me last year with a report, I think, from 2022 of a huge bird just on edge at golf course early one morning, and she said it stood 4 foot tall. I'll find that one out. And she said the unnerving thing when she drove past this thing slowly is that its eyes, she felt like they were piercing into her. She could see it really close. This lady comes in chat, and yeah, it's an interesting sighting.
That's good.
But other than that, Stephen, I mean, for you to say that implies that you might have a story you want to share, and if you do, please get in touch. Because I've started categorizing everything. People who are having these experiences with the extreme fear, because I think they're just as important as the incredible UFO sightings, the cryptids, and you could separate the birds, the triangular UFOs. It's all getting categorized instead of just lumping everything together in a pile, or all types of, let's see if we've got locations where these things are seen as well.
Brilliant. And let's have a look then. Stephen Collin follows on with... I was in Staxton Woods this morning with my granddaughter, and she and myself heard 3 knocks.
Brilliant, Stephen. I'm glad you've said that. Right. I went up there with my granddaughter in probably, because I go up there quite often. Yeah. And it's a lovely wood, isn't it? You'll know that. It's not massive. The potential for some kind of cryptid creature to reside in there, I think, is nil. The potential for some kind of cryptid creature to be seen around there is big. Why is he saying that? Why is he contradicting himself? Because I don't think it's here. I think we're looking at something else that's just slipping in and out. I really do, of our existence. I went in there probably 2014 with my granddaughter. Now, let me wind back. I went in there with the little dog first, and I heard 3 tree knocks. People have heard me talk about it. I sat down.
This knock, is it like a hollow tree? Would you say?
Imagine if you'd got imagine if you'd got a lump hammer. Imagine if you got a 2-pound lump hammer, and you whacked a tree 3 times with it.
Really?
It weren't a windy day. I heard it. Dog didn't react to anything. I sat down on a fallen tree, poured a cup of coffee, sat there, put a recorder on. It never did it again. Then I went in with granddaughter, probably about a month later, the same area. We got the most vile smell of sulfur, literally rotten eggs. I don't know what that signifies. Stephen, if you smell that as well, that'd be interesting. We left the area. We come back to it later, though, no smell. And when I wondered, I've nothing to connect it to a cryptid sighting, but I found it fascinating. There were no branches knocking together. It weren't windy, and we heard the tree knocks. And people will have heard me talk about it over the last few years.
Okay, let's have a look then. We'll back on the UFOs here on this one. I think David Backer. I'll just flash these up, and definitely advanced techno heat signature apparently as to what they are. I think they're man-made.
You could be right, Dave. Do you know? I mean, we're not ruling out the stuff that we see. Some of the stuff, because I'll rule it out in my head for the orange spheres of light over the sea, because they've been seen since the lifeboat logs and Coast Guard logs started being done 50, 60 years ago. But definitely some of it could be advanced military tech that we're not aware of. And
as Tetrastatic says there, it seems to be a bit of everything, but it's been run like a psyop? Question mark.
Oh, what? Yeah. I'd every card on table, Tetra. Every card on table. We none of us know.
Okay, then, and I'll just flash this one up because it relates to what we've just been. Stephen was telling us about. I've had a few different ones over the years, Paul. Strange things.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, just you know what to do, Stephen, and we've probably exchanged a few things as well in past, but I'm all ears for these. Sounds weird. These big bird sightings, these big cryptid bird sightings. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Gavin still crazy. I think they are trying to blame Iran for the drones so they can start a war before Biden's time is up.
Yeah, maybe, Gavin.
Yeah, well, it could be something to do with the outgoing Biden administration. You sure?
I've just seen Linny's just put, and Pete, lurk a lot. Yeah, I hope you're all right, Pete. It was good to speak to you today as well. So well on the mend, man,
great.
Peter. That's great, yeah.
Good one, yeah. And let's have a look then. Tino, welcome to the show, Tino. Even if this is secret human technology, then millions of people wise to it now will by extension find out about real UFO stuff. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, it could well be. Well, there's one thing, Tino, one plus to it. It's got, I won't say everybody, but it's got people looking towards the skies, hasn't it? So,
it's definitely woken people up on that respect. And like what I was saying to you before, the sort of like normalization of now aeroplane chatter back to where, through the airwaves easily. I think in normal general life, it's like what we talked about in the last few streams, Paul, where generally people are not bothered about talking about this subject anymore, are they? Really?
There's not as much of a stigma to it, definitely not. Especially the UFO subject, UAP. Yeah. People are more open to talking about it, and the people that had seen the UFO, but just or some unidentified object, and just kept silent because of the ridicule factor, are now more open to doing it. They're more open to speaking about it, and I think it can only be good.
Spot on, Paul, he says.
Thanks, Tino.
That's a good one. Right, let's see what else we have. Let's have a look. Can't pronounce. KKK 1965. Is it a coincidence? Coincidence it is happening after the US elections. False flag. So back to.
So do you know? I know what you're saying, and I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, my gut feeling is that we're definitely dealing. If it's military tech, then it's far more advanced than anything we've got. And if it's some other nation's military tech, you would think that our air defences would be all over it, or the potential of it appearing, because of the frequency that it is appearing. You'd think our military tech would be all over it, but that doesn't seem to be happening. All we're doing is getting reports of it. That's why if it is man-made tech, that's why I'm saying it's our own. It's a double bluff, showing other nations what we're capable of. I don't know.
Right. Okay. And I know this is something you're looking into, Paul. Peter
Oh,
Armstrong. Apparently, drones have been seen coming from out of the sea, and you've got actually video of the orange orbs dropping into the sea, haven't you?
I've got video from Bempton cliff tops of an orange orb going into the sea.
Into the sea.
I've got our Dave Barnes, an incredible bit of footage from, I don't know year. I don't think Dave will be in chat, but something tells me 2020, or it might have been pre-COVID, but of an orb that Dave saw. I didn't see it come out of Filey Bay. I saw it when it were hovering. Travel along the coast 6 miles and then go into the sea. We've got footage of that, and we've got footage of lights under the sea. So, I mean, what does that mean then? It's incredible military tech. If these are they being released by submarines? How does that work? You know, that's a game changer, isn't it? If it's man-made tech once again. Don't forget, Les. I mean, I know it's only 20 minutes in, but we have a few pictures to show at some point, haven't we?
Okay, well, we'll do those now.
We'll just put a bit of background on what we're talking about first, shall I, before you put them up?
Okay, yeah.
February this year, after we'd been to the cliff tops, Ian's got a dash cam on his car, and we're travelling back through the village of Bempton, and as I've just passed the little pond, you can Google Earth this because there's only one pond in Bempton, then you'll know where we are. You come up an hill called Newsham Hill, and there's a huge red flash of light in the sky. Not very high up. I'd have only said about 60 foot in the air, if that. Real big explosion of bright red light. And I pulled my car in. Ian pulled in behind me because he thought I'd got a problem with car. Told him what had happened. I said, "Did you see it?" He said he didn't. He says, "But I might have picked it up on not webcam, on dash cam." Sure enough, he had. Now, you're not going to see them pictures tonight. I think we showed them. But whatever date it is on the dash cam, that's last time I was at Cliffs, because I've not been very well, as people know. We're coming home from the cliff tops. Same scenario. This time Ian's in his van. So he's got a big high vantage point, and I'm in front. He stops at the junction. There's nobody there, just to remove a tight-fitting, snood. And you can just see my tail lights on these pictures, and then he sets off again. I'm driving. I wondered what he'd slowed down for, so I literally did slow down a little bit. The next thing is flashing me with his headlights. The strip light on top of his van. So I'm thinking he's got a problem with van. I pull in near the railway station. When I say railway station at Bempton, people, just have a look. It's just a little platform, and there's probably a handful of people get on it a week. So I pulled in. He says, "Did you see it?" I said, "See what?" He said, "I thought your car had exploded." When you see pictures, you'll understand why. I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Everything. There was just a massive explosion of orange." I said, "I never saw a thing." So sure enough, he gets home, reviews his dash cam footage, comes to meet next day. We've downloaded it. And all I did tonight, literally on the hoof, so they might not be in right order, because I've just sent them to Les, and I've sent them in best order I could, and he might not have got them in right order. That's not Les's fault, but I've just fired 6 pictures at him, I think, of frame captures from the dash cam. So do you want to put them up, Les, and we'll have a look at these?
Yeah, sure. And
so that's the first one from Ian's van. The 2 little red lights are obviously part of his dash cam that you can see above. And we're just heading through the little village of Bempton. You see the 2 lights at the bottom there? That's the tail lights of my car. Yeah, so we keep going, Les.
Okay.
Let's have a look, Les.
Do you want the big flash on?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because...
that's what happened.
There we go. So this is really what the main crux of what we're talking about tonight.
I never saw that.
You didn't see that at all.
I didn't see a thing. I never saw that. He's picked it up. I mean, this is moving footage. These aren't just bits of stills where somebody's going to go, oh, it's fake. That I never saw a thing.
And that's yeah.
Well,
And how far down the road do you think you was? Just give us some yardage.
To be honest with you, until tonight, I realised my car's actually in view. I think as it's dissipating the light. So any of these the next ones might not be in order, guys. So that's as the light's dissipating. So you can see that light. You can see the two. What are they? National speed limit signs? Or
yeah.
But to the left, there's a light in the sky in the air. Can you see it to the left?
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah.
That's the object as it's dissipating, whatever it is.
And
now below that,
gone a little bit more, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just about gone. Let's have another one, Les.
Let's have a look. One we've not used here. They are a little bit out of order.
They're very much out of order, but that's the way of things.
Yeah. So this is afterwards.
No, it isn't actually. I've zoomed in on the other one. That's the actual position Ian was at. So you're literally there. All this happens within 2 seconds.
Yeah. So let's go back to the interesting one, which is that one.
Yeah.
And that is very bright. That you can tell how dark it is. There's just a couple of street lights, was there?
That's not a street light though. You know what I mean?
No, just in the village itself. Just
and
that's it.
That's low. Look you can see the grass below, or you can see that below.
And what direction are we facing in, Paul? North, south, west? What?
We're traveling. Come on, Paul. We'd be north. We'd be south, won't we? I think. But does the dashcam might actually say? But regardless, what direction we're traveling, that my car's there in very close proximity to it, and I never saw a thing.
That's amazing.
So if you look there, I think over the next time you see these pictures, guys, I will be able to highlight the car because I have seen it in one of the stills.
Okay.
So basically, I don't know what's going off there. What do you guys think? This is an area where we got a similar thing in February of this year, but it was higher up and it was a bright red one that Ian didn't see as I were driving. I saw it light up like above my car. When we stopped car, Ian says, "Did you see it?" He says, "I thought your car had blown up because I'd just gone round the corner." And I said, "I never saw a thing." And I mean, he might have something to say about it. I don't know, but yeah. All good.
Okay, all good. Yeah, that's very interesting, that capture, actually, Paul. Wow. Kane is saying, the songwriter, good evening, Paul and Fellas. Sorry I'm late. I've just got back from Worcester.
Well done. I hope you've had a nice time and a good journey, my friend. Excellent. Yeah. Sing a songwriter. You'll have to sing a song for us at Christmas.
Yeah, devise a song for Truth Proof. That'd be great. Yeah. Okay, so we're back, obviously, onto the main topic, really, that we started the show off with, the drones. I've read that the drones could be Project Bluebeam, which infers a foreign encroachment into the UK-US airspace, but it could be possible that they are preparing us for an alien invasion. What's your thoughts on that one, Paul?
Wow. Well, it's difficult, isn't it, Steve? Because a lot, there's a lot of people out there of the mind that this could be some kind of alien technology. And obviously, if it isn't, and I can't say whether it is or it isn't, I've got no idea. But it's putting people in that train of thought anyway. That we're already on that. So yeah, it's anything's possible, isn't it? And I don't know. I think all ideas are valid here. And look at it. Let's face it. Who would have thought over the last 3 or 4 weeks we'd be having as much debate over intrusions into our airspace, not just UK airspace, but American soil as well, and where these things. I mean, the picture that sort of grabbed everybody's attention, well, that one that looked like it had just about landed on the runway, or it was just off it, and you could see a shadow. I don't know whether that's genuine or not. Some people have tried to debunk it, saying that there's leaves on trees and a bit of greenery. So,
all right, I don't know. Ian is saying
that's what I wanted to get.
The last pictures I was just showing you, Paul, it was massive. It filled the whole sky like lightning.
Yeah, and I think Ian's right there, people. We're not getting benefit of that. Now, let's imagine a few months ago, Ian once again, but he went through his footage and he thought there were a little glitch on camera, didn't he, Les? And we showed that bit of film, and over the fraction of 3 frames, we went from a bit of light to a bit more light to lighting up the whole field around us on the cliff tops. Yet none of us saw a thing. When Ian walked up to me when we got out of the cars, he said everything looked orange, the full explosion, and it could be just frame rate at camera. Maybe a better quality camera would have captured even more. But having said that, that's spectacular, isn't it? I mean, I've not thrown a firework as I've gone up road. You know what I mean? It's literally lit up that and exploded. I've contacted somebody at property just above, just out of interest, to see whether they've had any experience of these strange flashes of light or anything. They haven't, and I've spoke to the lady.
Okay. We've got this one from Barbara Davis. Watched a USA government contractor saying he thinks they are looking for a missing nuclear bomb. They can smell the chemical. That is why they are flying so low at night. Well, that's one I ain't heard that one.
Oh, wow. So what are you implying there then, Barbara? That this is our tech that's actually just looking for this missing nuclear bomb? How do you lose a nuclear bomb? Do you mean?
I was going to ask myself.
You know what I mean? It's not something you could. You know, I work at some kind
of
like
losing your car keys, is it?
No, I work at a nut and bolt factory and walk out with a handful of nuts and bolts. You'd be struggling, wouldn't you, to lose a nuclear bomb? But do you mean somebody has planted potentially something like that on foreign soil and we don't know where it is, and that's what's trying to be detected? But these drones are all different sizes, aren't they? Some people are talking about them being as big as buses and looking like aircraft cars stacked on top of each other and all sorts of weird combinations.
When you think about it, in this respect, I think probably size matters, because you've already talked about, we talked about these drones being in the air for 5 hours and maybe longer. So you need
massive battery power. Yeah, I suppose you would, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay,
I've not heard that one though, Barbara.
No, I'd like to know a little bit more about that one, wouldn't you, Paul? Yeah.
I know it's only how you've worded it, Barbara, and it's just it's live chat, and sometimes if anybody looked at me typing in live chat, all spelling will be wrong. So, but it's just a missing nuclear bomb. I mean, I would be thinking to myself that there'd be a nuclear bomb planted on our soil, if you know what I mean. That's the reason. If I were looking in that direction, but I don't know. Okay. Anybody got any views on that?
Yeah, if anybody's got any similar views or seen this story similar to what Barbara has seen today, that'd be great. So we've got Stephen following up again with, I was in Staxton Woods this morning with my
we've done that one, Les.
Yeah, we've done that one. I just realised that I had done that one. I didn't delete it. That was my fault.
It's all right.
Okay, then. Right, here we go. Steve 071, Paul and Les, have you had any chance to shoot any more footage for Wolflands 2 recently?
Not recently, Steve, but no doubt we will be doing. And likewise, the things that I'll be working on with Chris as well, because we've got to get on with Wolflands 2.
We've had a couple of times. We've had a few time setbacks, really, haven't we?
Yeah, life kind of gets in the way, but we have done quite a bit of filming, and there's a lot lined up now to work with. And I'll just get that one in as well before I forget, because I don't want it to get to 8 o'clock and then forget. As well as doing the Truth Proof live streams on the Sunday and on the Thursday, I will be doing a new live stream with Chris Turner, the last transmission, and that's going to be going out, Les, as Les knows, at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. We're going to do one this year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you can support us, that'd be great.
Yeah, and some more information to be added to that. We usually do put shorts out twice a week, and we decided to put the short out for next week on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case last transmission run over like 5-10 minutes and people wanted to watch it, you're in a what shall I do? Do you know what I mean? Kind of situation. So it's easy. Les suggested we just put it out on Wednesday. Great idea. So that's good.
Okay, so we'll move on with 1423. Have you received any reports of anyone being abducted while outside and returned to a location outdoors? Or do most abductions tend to take place from a home or the bed while sleeping?
Well, in my experience and I don't mean personally, I think these things happen in all types of scenarios. You hear of drivers sort of suddenly seeing a light come on above the car on a dark road, and then they're found transported down road, and when they get home, when they thought they were going to get home at 7 o'clock, it's 1 in the morning. So there's obviously something taking place there. There's one which I won't go into great detail about, because you wonder, some people who've had these experiences are listening and looking for answers, but if it's them that you're talking about, it's quite traumatic. But on the cliff tops, there were an elderly couple abducted who are from this area. And that were terrifying. And they only went for a walk, and now they saw what a flash of white light in the sky. And the next thing that they knew, they claimed that they were inside. They didn't say a spaceship. They're inside a room. And all I'll say is the elderly people. I mean, I'm 62, so and then we're talking a lot of years older, and they were having procedures performed on them, and that were frightening.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds me of the first-hand report I got from a man who claimed he was taken into a spacecraft at Farley Brig. He was walking his dog, and he was kind of jettisoned out, as it were, for want of a better phrase, somewhere near the big hotel in Farley. As you go into the Farley main area, you'll probably know where that hotel. And there's apparently there's a ramp. There's a
really,
yeah. So that's where he got kind of put back. So he did get abducted from one place. He saw this light, this orange orb coming over from the brig. You know what we're talking about here, Paul.
I do, yeah. I'm sorry for smiling, Les.
Yeah,
go on.
And then and that's all he remembered. But he remembers being on a craft.
Yeah, Les told me this story a few years ago, and if that person ever listens to this, please get in touch, because Les got the account, which were brilliant.
I got it first hand, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was smiling as Les were telling me, because I'm just thinking of that advert that's on TV at the moment where he gets beamed down and he goes, "Is that a Hyundai?" That's all I was thinking. But that's sorry.
But I did ask him. I said, "Have you, gone to any of the UFO researchers?" I think it was prior to me knowing you, Paul. So
yeah.
I didn't. But he did say he went to a local investigator from Farley. I think we both know him. But yeah, so he did retell the story, because obviously it did affect him.
Absolutely, and it affects people. It puts them on a different path for the rest of their lives, because you're left with so many unanswered questions. That's the problem. That's why when people tell me that they're here for good of mankind, if they are, then why are they leaving people with such an absolutely mashed up mind for the rest of their lives, asking all these questions that they just don't find answers to? That's why we've got 267 people in chat, not because they've been abducted, but everybody's looking for these answers. It's brilliant. And thanks for the support, guys.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming on tonight. And we only are on till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So we'll keep plowing into the questions from Mark Anderson. Mark, he was a guest on our show. Yeah. Paul, I think I discussed when I was a guest, but when I had UFOs versus
very close to
me, I didn't feel fear, but other times when they were far away, I was frightened.
That's interesting, isn't it? And I wouldn't know answer why, or well, maybe it's the same intelligence, but doing things or wanting to get different reactions from you, Mark, because these things do seem interested in human emotion to me. I mean, Mark, who comes to Cliff Tops with us, I've said to you many times, he spends many, many hours on his own camping in remote, lonely places, Scotland, all over the place. And he's had that fear dropped on him now at Bempton. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, I'd never heard of it. When he told me about it, I started giving him some examples. He says, I thought I were on my own with it. And now when it comes up, we find ourselves talking about it all the time, because he just can't work out what happened to him. And I know we've got about the UFOs far away, but I think what we'll call these side dishes that accompany these visual displays of brilliance from UFOs or cryptids, I think the other ancillary bits are just as important. The fear, it just fascinates me.
Okay, doke. I'm just gathering a few more while you was talking there, Paul. Let's get back to the questions. Right, let's have a look. Michael, Michael, Mike the Disabled Welshman, watched your recent video, the one where you were reading an extract from your Night People book, and to your left, something popped its head around a tree on your left-hand side.
A few people have said it, Mike, and I'm not saying it's wrong. And you probably, people in chat might go, oh, I bet he has. I've not looked at it. I haven't looked. So I will have a look, because obviously I've got the actual footage before it's been edited without my burbling and stammering and everything else. But I will have a look. I mean, those noises, they were unmistakable. They were there, and it were weird because they're in close proximity. Now, I did have an Olympus on this. We've got number 2 to go out. I think that's going to be ready Saturday. I've done it anyway. A follow up to that, and I put recorders on, 2 recorders.
That'll be going out Wednesday, Paul.
Wednesday, one at the back of me, one in front of me, and I don't think there's anything on them. Those recorders. Ironic, isn't it? But
Mike, you'll have to give us a rough time of when where you see it appear in the film, because obviously, how long was the film? 16 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're still with us on the stream, Mike, but if you can get a rough time of when that appears, that'd be great. Okay.
Just before we move on to that, Les, I've also, in a different area of the dike, I've collected them all on all, obviously the audio bits on all the times that we've been in this little area, and I think I've got 3 little bits of strange audio in a similar area on 3 separate occasions, obviously. So I don't know, it's just baffling.
Okay, I'll bring this up because let's have a look. I mean, that. Yeah, John Doe, Lou Elizondo mentioned a hidden nuclear device in the US in his latest vlog. He said he didn't know the truth of it. So that's carrying on from Barbara's suggestion.
Yes, and a lot of these could be like Chinese whispers, and Barbara's perfectly legit in what she's saying. But if it's come from a source where somebody's just added a little bit to it, we want first-hand accounts, don't we? You're not going to get them regarding a nuclear device hidden somewhere on America's soil, are you?
Right. Tino is saying the knocks could be a similar phenomenon to the metallic clang sound denoting manifestations.
Yeah, could be, Tino. I've had a few thoughts on these knocks and these, excuse me, metallic sounds.
That's kind of a prelude to something else happening.
Something else happening, yeah. I don't see why not. And the smell of sulfur. That goes back throughout history, when the people are talking about the Black Dog sightings and the Bar Guest sightings, the smell of sulfur, fire and brimstone. Oh, they talk about this vile smell. But, when I spoke to Ron Moorhead, and Ron's the guy, as everybody in chat knows, I would think, he's famous for the Sierra Sounds. And if you're not familiar with it, please visit something that Ron Moorhead's done and have a look at the work that he's done there in the Sierra Nevadas, isn't it? But I said to Ron, I think that these are mimicking. These are actually these creatures are actually creating the sounds because they make sounds like doors slamming, car bonnets slamming down, all sorts of weird things. I mean, I interviewed that young guy who slept in the dike about 3 or 4 months ago, Josh, and I asked him if anything unusual had happened during his overnight stay in the dike. Bearing in mind he'd got no interest in any of this subject, I just bumped into him at, I think it was about 4:30 in the morning, as I'm having one of these early morning walks with the Bobster, and he said there were a noise right close to him, like a metallic. I likened it to a bucket on a digger, where you drag it along a hard surface, the steel. And he said it were really grating and cranking like sound around him. That's odd. You shouldn't be getting that up there. What is it?
True. And bit of self-advertising here, Paul. Stratification tool. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, obviously that's on the website, truthproof.uk. And and I'll tell you what we want, guys, as well. I'm glad you've mentioned that, Les. If you filled it in and are having trouble filling it in, please tell us, because we will find a better way, and we'll start and advertise it on the Truth Proof webpage on Facebook as well, because we want your reports. It can remain anonymous. I say it every week, but we want your reports. Have you filled it in and thought it's not been sent? Because somebody messaged me in the week, said they'd filled it in, and he said I pressed send, but however, I don't think it went. So we're wondering because just take now, for instance, there's nearly 270 people in chat. We wouldn't expect 270 people to fill this in with an experience, but if 70 did, over the course of a month, so we haven't got the volume in that we thought we would get, and they're not going nowhere except with us. We're looking for patterns, we're looking for answers, and Martin Abbas has spent a lot of time working on this as well. So give us your feedback on that. If you find it difficult to fill in, or if you fill it in and you think it's not gone, let us know. Then we'll do something about it. Right.
And for those people in the stream who are not familiar with the stratification tool, when I can say it properly, it's a form that you and Martin Abbas, as you just alluded to, have put together, and it's a very, very comprehensive list of questions.
Yeah.
So if you've had any kind of phenomena happen to you and you want to report that, then from memory, or if it's recent or past, then tell us in that column, all those columns actually, the details, what them columns are asking you to put in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really detailed, isn't it, Paul? It's
it is, and and you're spot on, Leslie, when you say that, because we're even interested in what you've had to eat, or have you had sleep deprivation?
Yeah.
And if there's any questions that you don't want to answer, just omit them. You're not going to be judged on it. But we can only find answers to what's happening if people are willing to kind of participate in this little survey. But we need more people. So jumping to that, then we've also got the DVD Wolflands, which myself and Les have done. We've still got the hard copies of the DVD, which I'm not posting every day, but I'm posting quite a few a week. So so as soon as I get an order in from either eBay or truthproof.uk website, that they'll be posted the next day, unless it's the weekend. They'll be in the post for you, until Christmas post stops. And obviously, truthproof.uk is the place to find the hard copy of the DVD or eBay. If you likewise, if you want the Truth Proof books, Truth Proof 1, 2, 3, and 4, or Night People, there it is. Same place, truthproof.uk, or Amazon for the Kindle downloads. And yeah, that's great. I don't normally have as much time to have a little yarn on, but it's Christmas, so if you want to order a book, let me know. If you want it signing, I've no problem. I sign every book. But if somebody, sometimes they'll say, "Oh, can you sign it to Dave?" That's what I'll do. Do you know what I mean? It's no problem. I can't understand why people get so precious about not being able to sign it, or I want a bit more money if I've got to sign it. About 20p then.
Yeah,
easy.
And also I've got to mention on the Truth Proof channel itself, I think it's over the 12,500 subscriber count. We'd like to get to 13,000. So, and kind of people know what the score is now. We tend to do a bit of a giveaway when we reach a milestone in the subscriber count. So if we can get to 13,000, we can probably do another competition.
Yeah, we definitely will. Absolutely, definitely will. And it's your channel, guys. So fire some more questions at us. We've got 10 minutes left, I think. So let's have a look.
Crafty Butcher, do you think it's possible that all the UFO drone sightings that are seen flying around the Earth are actually leaving Earth after being here for many years?
I don't know. I don't know. I wonder, Crafty, whether we should maybe stop investing all this money in looking for life out there, because if we found it, chances are it's going to be on a higher level of intelligence than us. So, and we're not going to be able to get to it. We'll just be frustrated. But clearly, whatever intelligence is here, there is out there that we're observing is here. It's already here, and it has been long before we started looking for it. Long before I had any experiences. You've only got to look at ancient texts. There's something very, very unnatural and different to normal human behavior and normal things that we see on an everyday basis that's out there. Just because we can't see it regularly, just because we can't prove it, does not mean that people aren't having these experiences. It's easy, isn't it, to say, "Oh, what a load of rubbish," just because you've not seen it. Try telling that to somebody who's had a traumatic experience. It's not going to work.
Okay, Stephen Collin, at the very top of Staxton near the base, there is a big storage bit. As I was looking at it last week, and I thought it could be gases escaping, causing funny lights to be seen. It's just a thought.
You make a great point there, Stephen, and I think I'm not sure if that is. I think that's And it would cause gases, wouldn't it? Let's face it. They're like big black bladders. I won't want to fall into one. Let's put it that way. And like you said, they're full of slurry and they've got vents on them. So yeah, they definitely give off a methane. So Stephen's come out with a possible explanation for the smell of rotten eggs. We don't explain it's tree knocks, but yeah, absolutely, I'm on it with that one.
Okay. I got a question from Steve Davis. Any news on Humnum and military whistleblowers? Any whistleblowers got in touch with reference to military involvement in Humnum and other cases where the retired ex-forces military?
Well,
are there any retired forces ex-military whistleblowers?
Well, let's just put that one out there, Steve, because answer is for me at the moment no. Right. But if anybody is aware of anything from let's just say, let's go from 96, 7 and 8 or 95 to year 2000 that took place at Hummunby, and you've got a little bit of knowledge, no matter how small you might think that is, please let me know. Now, because I've not been very well, I've not been sleeping, and this makes sense. It ties in with Hummunby, and I've been getting up at like 4 in the morning and just sitting in dark in room because of pain I've had in my back and what have you. And then I've been going out early, and I bumped into one at Witnesses last week. And I've literally just been walking around block in dark. This guy were off for quite a distance to do some work in York, actually. And he was just loading his van and doing everything, and got talking. And I said, I still want to. I've done lots of interviews with him as recordings. I said, I still want to do the recording and get you on film. And he says, yeah, I'm good to go with it. I will do it. And his 2 sons have also experienced it. I knew one had, but they also experienced it back in the 90s when he used to take them to work with him. I know that's not part of your question, Steve, but you know it's coming to it. It'll never go away, this story. For me, it's the most incredible UFO incident never told. And it's only because I know that guy so well and I know how sincere he is that I know it's the real deal. Thanks, Alison.
Okay, and I think there's an update of when. Let's have a look. I'll have to scroll down. I'll see it when I catch up to it. Something people right. Here we go. Dragonborn. Let's follow in your Loch Ness visit. Will you be making a shot for us of your meeting with the Nessie man? Sure will. Definitely. Excellent. Just got a little bit more to go on to that film, but yeah, New Year we'll see that there.
Yeah, that'd be good. Look forward to seeing that, Liz.
Yeah, a little bit different. A little bit different, yeah.
Do you plan on going again?
Sorry?
Do you plan on going again?
I'd like to. Yeah, I would like to, yeah. There's a lot more to do around there, and it's such a vast area. And yeah, you've got to obviously cover 21 miles from end to end, right. To pick up stories and information. So yeah, all good. Right. Okay, we'll move on with David Drummond, who's asking, who was saying Tic Tacs come from the sea as well, strangely, when we're talking about.
It's fascinating, David, isn't it? I mean, like you said, just on our little area there we observe, we've seen the spheres of light beneath the sea, and we've seen the lights on 2 occasions entering the sea. So yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, but this were an orange sphere and a white sphere that we saw enter the sea. Whether there's something else within that light, the lights may be disguising some shape, actual solid substance behind it. I don't know.
Okay, Lisa is saying, I think the phenomena is keeping tabs on us.
Yeah, constantly keeping tabs on us. It's constantly there. We're the key to connecting with it, Lisa, in my opinion. And I don't mean the drones, because I don't know what they are, but if we're the key to connecting with the phenomena, as in we've said many times, and we haven't got time to go into it in depth, but our mindset dictates when this interacts with us in some instances. It's Truth Proof 2, Beyond the Thinking Mind. Read that one. That's the reason it was subtitled Beyond the Thinking Mind, because what's happening is when we're detached, we detach our mind via hallucinogenics, and I don't use them, but some people do, via hallucinogenics, via meditation, via deep concentrated thought through grief. We see things of a paranormal nature. We see things of a strange nature. Why do you think that is? This is the key to connecting with a lot of what's out there.
Okay, going back to your series of photos, what we showed earlier. KKK 65, I noticed overhead wires, but if it was a transformer blowout, you would have seen it and heard it.
You're absolutely spot on, and well done for noticing that. Me and Ian talked about that extensively the next day. Plus, we think it would have been blue. And there were no power outage.
No.
Near the station, just as you go up a little bit further, there's a street lamp. You know, nothing flickered. Like I said, I never saw anything. Don't you find that unusual? That I never saw a thing. I did a light as bright as that. You would think I would, but then again, what is there something else happening on another level? Because none of us saw that light on cliff tops that lit the entire area of land up. About 6 people up there that night. But yeah, great point.
That was amazing. Them few frames there on the cliff
absolutely.
top there. Yeah. Right then. Kane, a songwriter, orbs have been seen with some kind of entities inside of them.
Do you know? Does anybody familiar with Hexthorpe in Doncaster? Hexthorpe Flats. And I've got to try and find this report. It'll be on an old computer, so it's long before I started with Truth Proof and what have you. And there was a clear or a transparent orb that apparently floated around a school playground and across the windows and landed on a flat roof of a school with an entity inside it. It keeps coming to me, that report, and it was from Hexthorpe in Doncaster. So if anybody has any knowledge of that, and I think we're probably going to be going back to the 1990s, early 2000s, get in touch.
Okie doke. Right. Apparently, from Peter Armstrong, he's saying apparently the drones have been spotted over Russia, China, France, etc. But we, the people, are being kept in the dark.
Yeah, well, that's fascinating then, Peter. And actually, when we were talking earlier about the drones, I don't know that it came into Les's head, but that was what I was going to ask. Are these drones being seen in other countries such as Russia, China, Germany, France? We're not hearing about it, but obviously it's a big world, this internet, isn't it? So the cross-pollination of knowledge, if they are, why aren't we getting it through that source? Surely governments couldn't suppress somebody. I can talk to somebody in America straight after this stream. So if I wanted to, and I wanted to say that I've just seen a pink pig flying over our roof, people in America would know. So I get what you're saying, Peter, but we're not seeing that bleed through from Joe Public, are we?
No, and it kind of gets me that these governments, they kind of, when you think about it, they're just treating us like idiots, Paul.
Well, we're all treated like idiots, aren't we?
Yeah, and okay, right, here we go. Breaking the clouds makes no sense. Why are the drones appearing at multiple sites? Then, not that many bombs missing.
Okay.
I
don't know whether I'm misreading this, but I don't think that the question that said that the drones were looking for a missing bomb meant that they're taking them. I think that the person, I can't remember who asked the question, were implying that
Barbara asked it initially. Yeah.
There's a bomb somewhere hidden or secreted away somewhere on our soil, should we say, and that's what the drones are trying to detect via leakage of some kind of, I don't know, nuclear. I don't know.
Good one here from Thanks for that, Paul. Good one here from the Crafty Butcher. I met a man who works at security at Sellafield, and he says so many UFO drones have been flying in a local airspace recently that they have installed military units there. Now that's interesting.
Yeah,
Sellafield.
It's fascinating. And once again, guys, without getting yourselves into trouble, all in legally observable places. If you live near any of these installations and it's legal to observe, do it. Let's see if you can pick something up on camera, or if it's a first-hand sighting and you've seen it, tell us about it.
Well, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? So the Crafty Butcher is saying, well, a mate of his is saying install military units at Sellafield. So what are they? Just lookouts? Are they there to fire at anything in the sky? What?
First of all, we'd have to establish whether they're there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm not saying you're wrong, Butcher, either. We don't know, do we? But there again, I suppose if you went in discreet and not in military uniform, who could say once you've actually got on site? Because you're not going to be privy to it. You're not going to get on site to look, are you?
Okay, question from Jane Louise Harding. It's from George. Have you consulted an astrophysicist about the probability of alien life having or for need of planets far older than on Earth?
I haven't, George, and I think you should do that, George. No, I'm joking. But no, I haven't, because I mean, most people in academia, they're not. Are they going to have that? They're going to have a knowledge of what they think is possible and isn't possible. But does any of that matter to the people who've actually seen and experienced it? The last thing you want to hear is it's not possible. These things can't live here on Earth. I mean, you tell that to that old couple who've gone through all their life blissfully unaware of anything to do with UFO / alien-related technology, and then the world's just been flipped upside down because of the experience they've had. I don't know, George. I haven't spoke to any of them, no. I spoke to Stanton Friedman years ago, the nuclear physicist, and obviously he's a guy that for decades just threw his hat into the ring with the UFO hypothesis and knew that these things were real, and worked with a lot of top scientists in the world. And I spent some time talking to Stanton, but I don't think that counts. And
Stephen finishes off by saying, I've been looking for answers to this puzzle all my life.
Yeah, I joined the club, Stephen, and I'm in the same one as you.
Okay, going back to your last video that you put out, somewhat peeping from behind the tree. I think it was about 15 minutes into the video. Mike the Disabled Welshman is saying, but also 40 and 23 is saying it's 5 minutes 59 seconds into the video. So Paul's left, our right, just above the fence. So we'll look at that.
We'll have a look, and obviously 40, and I've got the footage. Do you know what I mean? Sort of that's not being messed about with, as in messed. Nothing's been tampered with. But I might have told Dog to sit down. While we're there, I don't do it much because you can see how patient he is. He's brilliant. But I might have said that. I think, I'll cut that bit out. Do you know what I mean? So I've got the full footage.
Ken, Ken, the singer-songwriter, UFOs have been witnessed flying right through solid matter. So if that's the case, we could be inside one without even knowing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That could run that question. And I know we're just about out of time here, but well, I think we are. But, the hairdresser at Filey, the lady, she told me a story of the police officer when she was cutting his hair, saying they'd followed a UFO through the town of Filey. They're following it in a patrol car. And there's one of those huge tanks, the gas tanks, that stands up off the ground, great big one. It's just, and it flew straight into the side of it and disappeared. It's crazy.
And I think really the last question has to go to Steve Davis for tonight. Sorry about that, folks, but we only do 1 hour on a Sunday evening.
Yeah,
it's run over time now. Steve Davis is saying he works on nuclear power and military defense projects. All sorts of security issues occurred, none of which hit mainstream news. So recent drone news must be selectively filtered for the public. So in other words, there could be a lot more what we don't even know about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And on that note then, Steve, thank you very much, sir. And we're going to say good night to you guys. Don't forget, last transmission, 7 p.m. Tuesday.
Is there a link that can go to? Is there a link anywhere?
I will fire a link up and Les might put it in this later.
Yeah. We'll definitely do that. But thanks for all the support tonight, support on the channel tonight, guys. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Greatly appreciated. Thanks, Alison, for doing, and Lee for doing the moderating tonight. And who else was on? Jessica was on tonight. Thanks, Jessica.
And the guest on Thursday is Ernie. I think it's Devereux. I might have pronounced Devereux. And he's going to be sharing his cryptid experiences with us firsthand. The ones that he's had in America. Big. In league with sort of Ron Moorhead and Martin Grove, so it should be a good story.
And finally, thanks for the monetary donations tonight. You know who you are. Thanks for that immensely. Great, helps the channel. Thank you very much. So on that note, I've got to say good night, and good night, Paul.
Good night, Les. Thank you. Thanks, Alison. Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Lee.